Hey, less can be more, and when it is, it makes for a beautiful sense of freedom, and that's exactly what the Scrambler brought to the Ducati family. And yes, it was the most affordable Ducati you could buy, but being a Ducati, it was of course had a premium. And when you looked at the spec sheet, it was no spec sheet monster, but that left it with a lot of room to create a new character, a devil-may-care attitude irrespective of the kind of roads you threw at it. A beautiful combination, right? So, is Ducati ready to throw it all away, the magic of minimalism, for more? More? What more? Well, one thing's for certain, more cash. About 3.8 lakh rupees ex-showroom extra for the Scrambler 1100. Is that cash well spent? To find out, we're going to look at 7 reasons why the smaller Scrambler was so right. And let's see if the Scrambler 1100 betters it or not. For one, it was great for smaller riders. So the seat height is 20mm more than the smaller Scrambler and the seat is wider. So getting your feet on the ground could have been difficult. But this is still only 810mm and I am managing to get my feet down nice and proper. And yes, it is 20 kilograms heavier, but we've been pushing it around during the shoot. I have been at 5 feet 6 and I've had no trouble really. So the bottom line is, if you are shorter than me, then yes, this would feel a bit bigger. So you have the smaller Scrambler. The good news is, now for the taller riders, there is a bigger Scrambler they'd fit into. Which brings us to the design. It was simple, but cool. The design is still simple and minimalistic, but it looks more meaty. And that's because it's bigger, it's longer, it's wider, it's taller, and then there are those dual end cans under the seat which just look so nice and strong. There's that aluminium alloy subframe sticking out over here, and there's the instrument cluster that's bigger, it's got a quirky design. It's also more handy because now it shows you the gears and it also shows you the fuel level. And if you look at the tank, it's got more angular lines and it's bigger too, 15 liters compared to 13.5, and that's of course required because you have a bigger engine. It was right for people who wanted a Ducati, but not an intimidating one. With 75 horsepower, the smaller Scrambler, it was quick, but never stressful, whether you're riding in the city, the highway, chill or thrill modes. Now you have an air-cooled 1100cc engine, so things could get a bit tight, right? Wrong, because with 86 horsepower, it's still not sounding intimidating, right? So what is the big difference? The torque. There's lots of it. And when you ride it, you realize it's just so easy to cruise on this bike. It feels smooth no matter which gear you're in, whether you're going up a slope or just on a flat open highway. It's something that you can really relax with. And that makes it feel more mature and more enjoyable if you're into that kind of a thing. It is a Ducati you can use every day. One thing you won't escape from is the fact that it is an air-cooled L-twin, which means the second cylinder is going to be cooking your thigh when you're stuck in stop-go traffic, just like the smaller bike. And when it comes to the turning radius, this is a little bit wider by a couple of degrees, but not such a big deal. On the whole, this is really nice to ride even at low speeds. The clutch, hydraulic, works so well, nice and light, gearbox, clean, and well, you've got the city mode, you've got drive modes on this now of course, so which means you get a slightly lower horsepower count, a more relaxed feel from the engine for just commuting in the city. And when it comes to ride quality, that's improved too. It doesn't feel crude like it did on the Scrambler. This is way better in terms of how it handles bad roads, and well, it still has a bit of that attitude, but on the whole, just so much nicer. The Scrambler was great for people who wanted to explore Middle India or get out of South Bombay. Yeah. Well, the roads we went out on, those might not be as bad as the rest of Mumbai, but it showed us that the Scrambler, even its bigger guys, is ready to muck about. It's got a bigger tire up front, it's got 150 millimeters of suspension travel at the front and rear, and it soaks it all up really quite well. With the Scrambler, you got the versatility and the excitement that you'd expect from a Ducati. So, what's different, you ask? Well, for that new engine, they essentially made a new bike. You've got fatter forks up front, 45mm versus 41mm. You've got new frame because you need a longer wheelbase. It's got a new swing arm, new suspension. Yes, it's all new. How does it handle? Well, like a Scrambler and like a Ducati, which is to say, it's fun when you show it a set of corners. It's so willing, but never intimidating, and you get so much confidence because of the tires. Those MT60 RSs from Pirelli offer so much grip despite being on-off oriented. And did I mention the brakes? You now have dual discs up front, which give you phenomenal bite like any proper big bike should. So bottom line, fun and capable. The Scrambler made for a great motorcycle if you weren't too keen on electronics. So, if you think electronics get in the way of your connection with the motorcycle and the ride, you're not going to like this, because now it has ride-by-wire throttle. And that means you have rider modes, you have traction control, 4 levels of it, and you also get cornering ABS. But I'm chicken, I kind of like all this. But there were reasons for people to not buy a Scrambler 800 in the first place. For instance, its engine felt a bit jerky, and it didn't feel big enough or premium and high-tech. But like we've already shown you with the Scrambler 1100, Ducati has pretty much ironed all of that out. Can you spot the elephant in this setup? No? Well, is the price tag. The Scrambler 1100, I've really enjoyed riding it, however briefly, but it is struggling to justify its price point. At nearly 11 lakh rupees, you could get a lot more excitement from other brands and even from Ducati right here in India. But the Scrambler is packing in a lot. It's basically taken the Scrambler formula, rounded off the rough edges, made it into a more appealing, attractive, a more mature package, one that also feels more premium. So a rider who's more experienced, probably already has had his thrills, is going to find this quite an appealing motorcycle for rides other than ones when you're looking for that adrenaline rush.